Now to the obsession of the day, a Signal conversation, which is like WhatsApp, which is an encrypted messaging app where a whole collection of people in the national security area were having a conversation about an attack on the Yemeni rebels, and there was a journalist who got invited into the conversation.
The only real scandal is that somebody added the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic to their Signal conversation. I mean, it's an encrypted app. It's not the best place, I gather, to be having, discussions about war, just, possible war against the Houthis. I think everyone in the Trump administration would admit that. But was that really the big sin, or was it the fact that they actually managed to somehow CC The Atlantic's editor-in-chief, who made a big story out of it? I mean, it was dumb. I think they'll do it differently now. Nothing happened. They didn't CC Iran. They didn't loop in the Ayatollah and endanger the men. Yeah, it could have happened. It didn't. A lot of things could happen. But the question is, did they? Our men executed the mission perfectly. The Houthis took a lot of damage. We sent our message loud and clear. We took out Houthi leadership. This is something the Biden administration was too scared to do for 4 years. Trump did it within his first 2 months, and the mission was a massive success. If I were the Democrats, I'd not really want to be calling attention to this particular exercise because it was so good. But they found a process problem leading up to it in which really sound, sage, smart discussions were being had by Hegseth, by J.D. Vance, the vice president, by Mike Walls, the national security advisor, who's the one who inadvertently added the Atlantic editor-in-chief to the discussion about, do we do this? Is it more in our interest, or is it more in Europe's interest? Should we make Europe take the lead because they use these waterways 40% more than we do? We're only at 3%. All good discussions to be having. And then they showed unity and said, let's do this. None of that should have happened in the ear of Jeffrey Goldberg. Shouldn't have happened on Signal either. Okay, both of those will be rectified. No one got hurt. Let's move on, because the same media that wants to pretend they're so outraged about the fact that classified information was provided and discussed on this encrypted app, they leak classified information to the media every day. They did this every day of the Trump administration. This is what the CIA was doing. This is one of the reasons why Trump distrusts the national security apparatus, and so do most Republicans, because it was used against him for 4 solid years. Not to mention, they didn't care when the old defense secretary went AWOL for 10 days because he was having some sort of a surgery that he didn't want to tell us about because it involved man parts. Okay, sorry, but that's not allowed. You're the Secretary of Defense. They didn't care when Joe Biden got 13 service personnel killed, the disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. They didn't care about any of these military scandals. So please spare me that they somehow care about this one.
Bloody oath. And one last one here is, I want to go through, yet again, a revelation to the left that young men are growing more conservative. It doesn't surprise me, it doesn't surprise you, but I love that it surprises the left that there is only so far you can push these blokes before eventually they give you the proverbial middle finger.
They're too late. In the news today is a story about how now certain governors, the governor of Maryland, who's a favorite on the Dem side to possibly be a possible nominee in 28. The governor of Connecticut, who won't be. The governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, who is also on the short list. They're starting these initiatives to help young men, like to sort of prioritize young men. That's not it. First of all, the guy in Maryland, it's all about like city kids. Okay, well, that's a different problem. Like kids who grow up in the hood, who don't have opportunity. That's not about the young men. That's about growing up poor with no advantages, surrounded by crime, which is a different problem that needs to be solved. They don't know what they're doing. They don't understand why they've lost them, Paul. They don't understand that it's everything they've made their party about. Like you have to redo everything. The guy in Connecticut, Ned Lamont, was like, I'm expanding DEI to include young men. I think that's something everyone can get behind. Wrong, sir. Wrong. DEI is how you lost them. The young men hate DEI. They are sick and tired of showing up at school assemblies that are Black History Month, Gay Pride Month, Women's History Month, Indigenous Peoples Month. They're sick of this shit. They are over identity politics in every way. They are sick and tired of not getting jobs when they graduate from good colleges. They're sick and tired of getting perfect 4.0s and perfect SAT scores and not getting into top tier schools because they happen to have white skin and be boys. They are sick and tired of being a man, taking risks, being masculine, having testosterone flow through your veins and not be ashamed of it, be shamed, be demonized, be castigated by a turn of the nose or a casual reference or absolutely no empathy for the problem of male depression or male suicide. Or when someone dares speak out about it, like a Jordan Peterson, they get mocked as you just lead a bunch of incels, like those loser men who can't get some. Well, you're not going to get some unless you respect women. Let me do what I want while I spend your money unapologetically. All that, like this is the new version of female empowerment. They don't understand why they're loathed, their weakness. It's pathetic. It's ugly. It's a turnoff. They're having DEI for white men, whatever that means, Ned, ain't it. And they're not going to get it until they get a real man with actual testosterone in his veins who would never be caught dead in a man bun carrying a Merce to lead their party back into full masculinity. Only then will these young men even give them a second look.
Thank you, Rockstar. See you next week.
The pleasure's mine. See you next week.